Elizabeth Chappell, a lifelong entrepreneur who finally found my niche. After years of new ideas and jumping from business to business, I figured out how to turn a craft into a successful career. In 2016, I started a monthly subscription box for quilters. That little startup has grown into a thriving, multiple six-figure business that I am so proud of. As a published author, designer of fabrics and patterns being sold throughout the world, my favorite thing to do is to teach others how to grow a career of their dreams. Each week, you'll hear from me or from other guests who are creative entrepreneurs, so you can learn exactly what to do and what not to do to grow a career that's more rewarding and successful than you ever thought possible. If you're ready to turn your craft into a career that you love, I am so excited you're here. Welcome to the Craft to Career podcast. Welcome, Craft to Career podcast listeners. I have two things I'm going to share today. So, the podcast title today is, why is it that some people succeed and others do not? So we are going to talk about that. And first, I just want to share a marketing idea that I've been doing that's been really, really fun. And I just want to share with you, a little bit about how I did this so that you can think about how you could implement this in your own business. I mean, you could replicate it exactly as I've done it, or you could, tweak it or go with the why behind what I'm doing. So each, September, I open up my signature quilt pattern writing course. So now it's June and I'm starting to think, how can I start getting the right person into my audience who would be interested in the quilt pattern writing course? And what could I do that'd be really fun? We talked a couple episodes back about Taylor Swift and her marketing. Again, regardless if you like her music or not, there's a lot to learn from her. And I love the community that she makes and how much fun she has with what she does. Like, you can tell that she just has a good time coming up with the Easter eggs and the little clues and fun things that she does. It's just got to be fun for her. So I started thinking, what would be fun for me to do? Because it shows when you're having just fun as a business owner, it trickles down. It shows and it's fun. Like, if nothing else, you're going to have fun with it. So, with these two things in mind, I came up with this idea of a contest, and just for fun, like, invite quilters everywhere to design a quilt block and submit it. And it would be open to the public to vote on their favorite. And I like this for a couple of reasons. One, it takes me out of the equation to having to pick a winner. Like, who wins? Like, it's very subjective, which block is the best, So it's just public opinion, which is a pretty cool thing in and of itself to see what the public is interested in. It's a cool kind of experiment, like I said, in and of itself. And then it also is really fun for the person who's entering. You get to, hey, maybe I have this idea for a quilt block. Maybe I thought of it. Maybe I hadn't, but I wanted to make the prize enticing enough that people wouldn't want to pass it up. And so they wouldn't just be like, nah, maybe not. I wanted to, like I said, make it enticing enough so that if anyone was on the fence or maybe not even thinking about it, be like, I should really give that a thought. So the top winner, there's top three winners. The top winner gets $1,000. And the top three winners, they all get some kind of money reward. But the top three get access to my 2024 quilt pattern writing course for free. And it's extra exciting because if you're one of the top three winners, you have a design that people like. They voted, and that's one of the top three most popular favorite, public opinion voted block. So now you have a block that you've designed. You clearly are excited and interested about design, and you know that people like your design. So come and join me for free and learn how to write a pattern. This is really fun for me. Like, I really love teaching and helping people who want to learn how to write quilt patterns. And here we've got the perfect audience. Plus, I'm really gathering people who are interested in the possibility of designing and writing patterns. So this is kind of like a lead up to my quilt pattern writing course in a really fun way. So it's been really fun to see what people are submitting, and then just logistics behind the scene. As I thought about doing this, I was like, there's no way I want people to be sending photos to me and me having to go and upload them. And then how are people going to vote for them? Like, I don't want to keep track of any of that. That just is a lot of extra work. So I asked Jamie on my team, hey, can you look around for some different platforms that might host something like this? And she found Poll Unit. It's POLL and then Unit, UNIT. And it does all the back end work for me. So I did, like, after people started submitting photos, I realized that it wasn't public, what people had submitted. And so I had to go look at the settings a little bit and I adjusted those. And now everyone can see what blocks have been submitted. And I really wanted that to happen so that, that builds the excitement. It's really fun for people to go and scroll through and see what designs have people put on. I've noticed that since it went public, a couple of people have taken their blocks down and submitted different blocks. And so you can kind of see like what is the caliber of design that people are submitting, that kind of a thing. So it's been really, really fun for me. And now that I have it out and it's doing pretty well, it's really on my mind to keep promoting that. And I will say, from a business, like behind the scenes, when I send out an email, my email list is very, very receptive to this. When I post on Instagram, those posts are generally not as engaged. I'm still going to keep posting and doing them. I'm also running ads to this event, to this contest, and those just started. So I'm going to see how those play out. And depending how my different ads are doing, I might pull an ad or tweak it or, do a little different. But when I post on Instagram, funny, something educational, those always are going to do better than something that is a little more niched or focused a little more on a business side of things. I will still continue to post those things. I know that is the case. And my guess is that's not going to change. It's not an algorithmic thing. That's just general public. Like, it's way more enticing to laugh or like or watch something that's a tutorial than like, hey, do you want to win $1,000? I mean, that's a little catchy, but in fact, maybe I will use that. Hey, you want to win $1,000? All right, came up with an idea right here on the podcast. But yeah, so, and one of my ads, it's like, quilters, do you want, I'm trying to think of how I worded it. Do you want extra quilting cash or build your stash with cash or something? But I actually think, do you want to win it? Is take out do you? Okay, this is a little tip right here, live as I'm talking about this. You want to use as few words as possible to catch people's attention. So instead of do you want to win $1,000, just put want to win $1,000. That's going to be catchier and catch people's attention more than the longer do you want to. So there's a little linguistic copyright tidbit for you. So that's what I just wanted to share, that little behind the scenes, real life, what am I doing now? What's my thinking behind it? And when I say try this on your own, literally, you could try the same thing. You could do a contest and use Poll Unit and people submit photos, vote for the public favorite, or just with this idea, thinking, who is my ideal customer and how can I find them? Something that I hear people struggle with a little bit is like, I'm doing this thing or I'm offering this thing, but it's not bringing in my ideal customer. It's just bringing in, people who aren't super interested in what I offer. So it's really important for you to first ask yourself, who is my ideal customer? Is it somebody who wants to, I don't know, things that I'm looking at online recently, design a dollhouse, make a dollhouse decor, learn how to do embroidery. So let's go down the embroidery path. Let's say it's embroidery. Get real specific. Is it someone who already knows what they want to do with embroidery? They have the skills and you're going to provide a template? Or is it someone who they want to learn the basics. Like I just barely bought an embroidery beginner kit and it came with everything you need to do embroidery, a hoop, fabric, and on the fabric is printed like follow along and stitch along these lines and dots. And then a little flyer, it had a QR code. They mailed all this to me, a little QR code, and you could scan each QR code and it brings you to their YouTube channel. And there's lessons for here's how to do a satin stitch or a French knot. And you just scan that and go and watch those different lessons. So, think about who within your niche. And for me, with the quilt pattern writing course, many, many people quilt. That's a larger audience. But for my quilt pattern writing course, it's a little more niche. I specifically want people who are thinking about designing and selling, writing their own quilt patterns. So this contest uniquely attracts those people because it is a design. You have to come up with a design first. And all of a sudden, I know that all of these people are interested. And not only that, it's building talk around this. And when the voting comes out, people will be sharing like, hey, come and vote. And there'll just be more traction and visibility about design. So that's been a really fun way to hone and gather people who are uniquely interested in my niche. So that's something for you to think about. And then, how could you have fun with this? What's something that would just be so exciting and fun for you? I talk about it in some of my business, I don't know, coaching and the craft to career stuff that I used to do. That was like, it's almost like party planning. You are planning a party or an event and you want to just make it so exciting for yourself. Because when a host is excited about a party, it's going to be a good party. If they're like, what should I need to throw a baby shower for this person or, a birthday party or whatever it might be. Think of that with marketing. Oh, I have this thing and I need to market it. How am I going to do it? It shows. And if you're really excited about it, marketing becomes easy. Like you're just legitimately excited about doing it. And so then it just becomes a game of, okay, and even for me, I'm like, how the heck am I going to promote this thing? This is so different and unique. And I'm still learning. If it goes well and I have good traction with it, I plan to do this again next year. And I'll probably do like an entire quilt top next year. And I will take what I learned from this year because honestly, I just need to market more. I need to create more reels and play with that. And there's a reel I made that I was like, oh, this is going to do so well. I love it so much. And it's where I make a heart with my hands and it's like our love language. And then my left hand comes and twists my right hand to like a 90-degree angle. And I put a piece or a fabric bundle in my hand. And then the two hands are holding fabric bundles and we kind of like cheers each other. So cute. I loved it. It is not done well. In fact, one day there was a weird issue with Instagram and it posted both my posts like at 5 p.m. and it was all wonky. And I was like, well, I think that's why it didn't do so well. So I deleted it and posted it the next day at a better time. Still didn't do well. I was like, man, I thought this was going to knock it out of the park. And then some that I'm like, oh, whatever. I made that real quick, like resonate with people and are really funny. And so you just make content, even for myself, I need to be doing this. Probably I'm trying to post one reel a day and sometimes two. And so every other day I really should be talking about and promoting this contest. So I need to come up with, lots of different ideas of how to promote it. And with all of that content that I'm promoting, I will start to see, oh, this one's doing well, that one didn't. And yeah, leave it. So there we are. There's my little marketing / business insight. And hopefully that sparked some ideas for you and got you excited about selling and creating fun offers. So now let's dive into like the actual title of the podcast. Why is it that some people succeed and some people do not? And real quick, before we do that, my big ask of you is if you can share this podcast with others, you can, word of mouth, tell someone about it. You can take a photo and share about it in your stories. Or if you can leave a review for the podcast, that is also a form of sharing the podcast. That is how this podcast grows. I don't run ads. I love to bring you great, helpful content every week. And my only ask of you is that you can share the love, share the podcast, and help it to grow and succeed. So if you can take just a moment to do that now, you can screenshot and post right now, or leave a review. That would mean the world to me. And even more, it would mean the world to another entrepreneur. So, okay, why? Why do some people succeed? Why do others not? And this really it has been on my mind because of a comment which somebody made years ago. And it was during the whole, in my last podcast, like how to handle the haters. It was about, I don't know, 2 years ago when I was doing the quilt pattern writing course launch. And I mentioned I was just like head down doing my thing. And all of these comments started coming about that people were like, hey, were you aware of this that people are saying about you? I was like, huh, what? No, what's this? And one of the comments said something on the lines of, I mean, the idea behind it was, how could Elizabeth sell a course when she knows only a small percentage of the people are going to have success? Like, how can you ethically feel okay with that? And I clearly thought about that for a while, and the pendulum has swung where I'm like, on the one side, I'm like, well, that's crazy. Would you go to a gym that offers gym memberships and say, how can you ethically sell gym memberships when you know that so many people are never going to step foot into this gym or come once and then never come? You would never say that. Like, that's up to the customer, and their poor decisions aren't your responsibility. But then the pendulum swung the other way, and I'm like, but what, how is my content good? Is it helpful? Like, am I providing a good quality thing if not everyone is going to have success? And there have been times in a business where I really have taken that on my shoulders, and I have said, like, hey, my success is really dependent on your success. Like, what I do is really only successful if you're successful. And that shot myself in the foot because I wanted to dive in and fix people's businesses. And literally I took it upon myself, like mentally, emotionally. And that was too much. My gosh, talk about burnout. That is not sustainable. And it's not helpful to the business owner. Like, I know as a business owner, I've been on the receiving end where I'm like, could you please just do this for me, mentor? Like, I don't get it. Like, you're really good at it. Could you just like do this? That is not how a person learns. And the mindset is not in a good place if someone's like, I can't do this. Can you do it for me? So why do some people succeed? Why is it that, like, when I open my course, some people find great success and some don't? And, there's a bell curve of, in the majority, they get so many results. And then you have these outliers on both ends. On the one end, you have these people who have amazing success. And then on the other side of the bell curve, you have people who have like negative success. And they're like, this course didn't work at all for me. So what's going on there? And really, there's two things. The first is how people show up. They're at different places. Their skill sets are different. Let's say that somebody went to, I'm not comparing my course to law school. This is a totally separate analogy, but let's just go with it. So let's say you go to law school and you have somebody who has never graduated high school, and they're having a really hard time understanding the literature and reading comprehension. And then you have somebody else who has gone and gotten their PhD in, I don't know, literature. They're showing up with a different skill set. Like, the person who hasn't finished high school would have to get some further education and study and capacity to take in the things they're being taught, because it's not going to be received in the same way. So when you're offering a product, you will have people showing up with different skill sets. Part of that is marketing and letting people know this is really a good fit for you. If, for my course, for example, I say, if you are a quilter, if you don't know how to quilt, do not take this course. I am not teaching how to quilt, and it's going to be impossible to write instructions to teach someone else how to quilt if you don't have that knowledge yourself. And so, marketing and letting people know who's a good fit. But even then, some people have, I teach Adobe products. Some people have some experience with Adobe already. Some people are brand new. So it's going to be a different experience for these different people. And on that note, sometimes we'll take a course or read a book. Like I read Jeff Walker's launch book before my biggest launch of the quilt pattern writing course ever. And I had a mentor that I had hired and paid like $10,000 for. And that was the year that I had my biggest growth and success. And I was like, oh my gosh, my mentor made all the difference. And using this method of Jeff Walker made all the difference in the world. Well, yes and no. Like I had already studied so many other things and had so many other things in play already. Those happened to be what I read and who I had as my mentor at the moment of that aha pivotal breakthrough. But does that mean that other courses that I took didn't play a role? Or, I could have happened to have read a different book and already had the skills and knowledge of Jeff Walker's book and reversed it. And then I'd be giving all the credit to the other things that I had studied and done. So sometimes we look at our success and what brought it right at the moment of success and attribute that and say like, man, that other stuff didn't really help, when it did. It'd be like someone saying, man, my kindergarten teacher didn't really do much for me, even though they taught you your alphabet, they taught you your numbers, they taught you the basic foundations. So your product or service, you don't know which level of the building blocks it's going to be. For example, my course, maybe my course is their foundational, like, whoa, this is my first introduction to thinking this way. And that customer is going to need a little bit more time and experience and learning. And down the road, step 10, that's when it all clicks and they are like, whoa, okay, I'm having success. That person could easily be like, well, that course didn't really do much for me. It did. It's just, it wasn't the aha breakthrough moment for you. So both as a business owner and as someone who sells products, realize that we work in stages. So now implementing this into your business, if you're not having the breakthrough that you wanted right now, you don't necessarily need to like be so upset with all the mentors and people that you've had. It comes in stages. You grow gradually and don't give up. Keep learning, keep trying, keep improving yourself. And then also with the products that you offer, don't be super frustrated or like give up everything if not everyone who purchases your thing or uses your thing, if that like helps them really up level to the next thing. It might just be, this is their foundation. This is step one. So that's, the first thing to think about. The second is it really matters how somebody shows up as far as their mindset. Have you ever seen someone say like, is this product really going to work? Does it work? Here's the deal. It never works. We are the ones that make something work. How many of you have purchased, I don't know, let's even go so far as to like had a really negative customer experience. Like recently I was in Missouri. I visited Baby Lock. Now that was amazing. So don't get me wrong, but where we're going with this, I went to a Starbucks in the morning and the boss, it was laughable. And I felt so bad for the other employees. She was very belittling and berating. And there was a guy in training who was helping take my order. And at the end, she's like, oh, no, excuse me. You need to ask her if she has her app. I mean, and I can't even, thankfully, I don't have the skill set to like sound as belittling and act as belittling as she did, but it was so awkward for everyone involved. He felt stupid. I was uncomfortable for him. And then in the middle of my order, she like started yelling at another one of her her employees, and was like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be over here. I mean, it was so uncomfortable. And the work setting felt so chaotic and casual. Like they were all just talking really poorly to each other and not being respectful. And I was like, man, it starts with the top down. Like the manager is just really disrespectful. So that, not my favorite experience, like as far as a customer experience. However, it was, I mean, as I sat there, I was like, wow, this is really interesting and insightful. I can see as like a parent, a friend, a business owner, how it looks and feels to be treated like that. I really would like to implement the opposite of that in my life. Like if I needed to correct someone or remind them, hey, remember to use the app. And I literally went through in my mind how I could have played that out differently that was more respectful and less awkward for everyone involved. So, why I bring that up, if you buy something and or somebody shows up and they're like, okay, what are you going to do for me, is this going to work, that mindset's not going to work. Like even if the product is terrible, you can learn something from it. So someone who comes in with the mindset of like, no matter what, I will get something from this and I will be better off from it, guess what? They will get something from it and they will be better off because of it. So we cannot determine the mindset that people show up with when they purchase our product, but there are different levels of this. The first level is, it's called like, I'm giving this a term that I've made up. We're going to call it inclination. People have an inclination and they prove it. Like I am going to prove it. And this is, you don't see. So again, we're going to talk about the bell curve. This is a small percentage of people at the beginning of the bell curve. And these people have the mindset that like, no one has proven that it can't be done. So it's possible. This would be like Elon Musk. No one said we can't live on Mars. So it's possible. We could do it. And let's say the fastest that anyone's run the mile, 4 minutes, which is crazy. My daughter's in track and looking at their speeds. I'm like, how? Anyhow, before that record was broken, most people were like, no, it's never been done. It's impossible. Well, these people with inclination said, just because it hasn't been done doesn't mean it can't be done. And I'm going to do it. So that's the first one. And that is like, no matter what, my success is in my own hands. It is not up to the course, the product, the whatever. Like no matter what, I will do it and I will have success. So the second, it's like positive, but a little more passive. Like, now that someone's done the 4 minute mile, I know it's humanly possible. So I'm going to train and do what they did and get what they got. I would say this is where I am with my business. And I encourage people. I'm like, if you have seen somebody have major success writing and selling quilt patterns, you know that it's possible. So go do it, figure it out. You got this. Like it is possible. So that is a positive, passive mindset. And it's because it's not like I'm going to go and break all these records and I'm going to prove that it can be done and it's never been done before. You're looking at the proof and you're saying, okay, this has been done. So I got this. No matter what, I know that it's possible and I will figure out how to do it. So you may have students who are showing up or customers who are showing up with that mindset. Again, they're going to get more out of whatever you're offering because of themselves, because of how they are showing up, not because of your product. And keep all this in mind. I am not saying, don't worry about your product. If it's crap, that's fine. People will still get something out of it. Clearly, you want to make the best product possible. Become obsessed with that. Like, I will say that question that was posed was a gift in a way, because I really started questioning, what can I do to make sure that my product and my course is the best that I can? And I change every year. I've hired a course curriculum specialist to like make it the best that I can absolutely offer. So you want to make it the best possible, but then it comes to like, now it's up to the student. Now that I've created this atmosphere that I know it's going to be good, how are they showing up? So we've talked about the first, which is inclination. The second, they come up with positive, passive. Like I know this, that it has been done, so I know I can do it. And then third, this is the bell curve. This is the top, the highest, the most amount of people are here. And this is more neutral, where people are like, well, let's see if it works for me. It's no longer like I will get these results, but it's maybe. I'll see if your program works, which again, just in that terminology, I'll see if your program works, not if I can make it work. And there is comfort in that. I mean, let's be honest. None of us want to take responsibility if we don't have success. Like how many times have we heard, man, Instagram sucks. It is not working. A lot, right? But guess what? It is working for people. That many, many people are growing on Instagram. So to say that Instagram isn't working, that is taking the responsibility off of your own shoulders, and it's out of your control. You've done everything you can do, and it's just out of your control. And of course that feels better. Of course we don't want to say like, oh, it's me. Well, I don't, I don't want to have to change what I'm doing. I want it to change to accommodate me and just give me the success. I don't want to change my skill set. I don't want to have to, and sometimes it's a skill set, and there people are like, I don't have the skills and I don't know how to get the skills. And they don't have that. I will figure it out no matter what. So that's the neutral. Does it work for me? Is it going to work? Let's just see how this goes. We'll roll the dice and see what happens. Number 4 is more negative, passive. So this is like, it might work for others, but it's probably not going to work for me. Like, I just kind of have bad luck. I don't know. I've tried and it hasn't gone well. They do things halfway. I used your course or your pattern and it didn't work. So the fault is completely on somebody else. Like, it is 100%, and with a negative, like, generally doesn't work for me. That's just not what happens. Like, I don't have success. Things aren't going well for me. I don't have time. Just kind of the victim mentality, which brings us into number 5. So number 4 is the negative, passive. Like, they're a little more passive. The number 5, the negative, active. These are really, and I think we've seen them all, and I'll give some examples in other areas. These are the people who say like, I can prove that this is not going to work for me. So not just like it might work for others, but it probably won't work for me. They're like, no, I promise you that this will not work for me. And I think an easy way to see this is with weight. And I've seen it, with myself and friends. I've been this person before, and we can be these things in different areas. Like, we might be a number 2 in business, but a number 4 in relationships or with our health or whatever. But literally, like, and I've heard and I've said, like, you could cut off my arms and legs and I could starve myself and I wouldn't lose a pound, and like, oh, I'm this unique snowflake. No matter, everyone else can, my husband can do this and lose weight, and I just look at something and gain weight. So this is like, I can prove that it won't work for me. And then all of a sudden, with weight, I'm like, oh, there's actually like hormone stuff going on. And oh my gosh, there are things that I could do. Imagine that. But these people, it is like, they are going to prove that it's not going to work. There's no way. It's just like, up is down to them, down is up. And they are just this uniquely like, nope, it's not going to work. There's something uniquely special about me. I have unusually bad luck. I have unusual, whatever it might be. They are just like, no, it won't work. Now that's really not the ideal customer. And hopefully those people aren't buying your product. But if they are, there's always going to be those few people here or there that, don't. But let's go back to that question that was asked, like, how could Elizabeth or you or any business owner sell something knowing that not everyone's going to have success? In fact, a smaller percentage of people will have success than the people who are in the middle of the bell curve. Well, really, it is how the customer shows up. So we can't decide that, we do not know how they are when they show up. Now, I will say every once in a while, I'll get an email from someone and I'm like, oh, geez, they are in a 5. Like, please don't sign up for my course. I don't want that, yeah. So sometimes there are some red flags that I'm like, oh, this is not going to go well. Let's not do this, So that's thinking of the customer. But now let's think of this as our own self with our business. We can, with our thoughts, there's so much power in our thoughts and showing up in a way that you actually believe and do the things. So there's an exercise that I have heard, and I think it's great for this topic. If you take your hand and put it in front of you, and you have your pinky and your thumb touch, and you try to pull them apart, just think about pulling them apart. Don't actually do it. Just think about it. There is like there's something going on. Your brain is exerting energy and you're thinking about it, but you're not doing it. You're actively not pulling them apart. You are just thinking about it. Now, actually just pull your pinky and your thumb apart. That was so quick, so fast. The energy is just boop, done. This is the exact same with our business. Sometimes we will think, man, I really need to grow an email list. I really should do that. You know what's better than thinking about growing an email list? Growing an email list. There's so many things in our business. Man, I really should hire someone. It would help so much. But, I don't have the money. I don't have blah, blah, blah. You know what's easier than that is actually just hiring someone. And I know I can hear the protests because I've had them myself, but I don't have the money for that. Here's the deal. Be a number one, be the inclination person. I promise you there are ways in your business, and I'm not even going to share the ideas here because it's one of those like, well, tell me what to do. And then whatever your mindset is, you might be like, no, that's not going to work for me. No. But here's the deal. If you are number one and you have inclination and right now you don't have money to hire someone, but you want to hire someone, there's a way to make it happen. I'm going to leave it at that. And I'm going to invite you to think about that. And same with like, man, I really want to grow my audience on Instagram. I'm already, which one are you? Are you 1, 2, 3, 4? Like, well, it works for some people, but it's not really working for me. Or like, no, I can prove to you that it will not work for me. Or like, oh yeah, we'll see. I'll try this thing and see what happens. Or no, I will absolutely do this. And I've seen it being done before and I will do it. Or the number one, like, yeah, I want to be the first quilter to have over 1 million followers or whatever, I mean, where do you fall on that spectrum of thought process? So I invite you to just work on your thoughts. Know that the way that you show up for your business affects your business. It's so much easier to see it with someone else. Like you see customers who show up with a different aptitude, different thinking mindset, and you see how that plays out. It is the exact same for your business. How you are thinking about your success, how optimistic you are. It will play out in how you learn and how you think about things, your creativity, your willingness to try. And with that in mind, I also want to add, like, really evaluate what you want in your business. So if you were to say, like, I really want to grow to 1 million followers on Instagram, we'll go with that I just said a minute ago. I invite you to really think, is that what you really want? Like, we only have so much energy. And so if that's what you're going to focus on, I'd really just focus on that. But I would ask yourself a step further. Why do I want to grow 1 million followers on Instagram? Oh, it's so that I can sell more of my product. Okay, so then the actual thing you want to do is sell more of your product. So in that case, I would think of, well, let's not worry about if it's Instagram, but let's just focus on that product. How can I make that product amazing and good? And then you're going to start thinking about, like, it will naturally, the inclination will come of like, okay, now that I've done this, I have a really cool idea to promote it this way or that way. So really think about what is the main area of your business that you want to focus on right now. Choose one. If you're at a point where your main thing is, I want to hire somebody, I already know that you're pretty advanced in your business, because at the beginning, sure, of course, you want to hire someone, but you have other pressing matters that need attention. If you aren't getting a lot of sales, my guess is you're not going to jump to, I want to hire someone. Further up on the importance scale is like selling your product, and it may be, if you're going to say the biggest thing right now is for me to create my product. So wherever you are in your business, think about what is the number one thing that you need to focus on in your business right now, and make that the thing that you focus on. And I will say, the more that I do this, the more I realize I can't do that much in my business. I've been trying to do, heaven knows, you've seen it. I've had a membership and a course and fabric design and writing patterns and a mentorship and a podcast. And that leads to burnout. It is just not sustainable. And so that's one of the beauties that I'm learning as I go throughout my business. Less truly is more. And if you want to grow one area of your business, you will really have to focus on that one area of your business. So those are my thoughts for you today. We've seen why some people have success more than others. And we talked some about marketing. And I have loved chatting with you. I hope that you enjoy this episode. I will see you right back here next Friday with a brand new episode. Until then, take care.